James and Justin here, your favorite spiritual analysts on all things culturally relevant. And did you hear? Donald Trump won the American election.
What?
So in this episode, we're going to talk about why he won the election.
All right.
We won't keep you waiting. Let's get into it. All right. So I've been watching a lot of social media this week, people's responses. Classic, like every time there's an election and the liberals lose something, the Republicans are always quick to make like triggered liberal videos and stuff like that. But to be honest, I think the left side, the Democratic Party, handled it pretty good considering how crazy of an election this was. Like all the lead up, all the things that happened that led to this election. And maybe it's a good thing that the Republicans won because now they can at least have that, that feeling that, okay, maybe it wasn't rigged the last time he lost. We did clearly win this one. And hopefully we never run into something like this again where it's like we're doubting the elections and did they actually really win? And, maybe we can move beyond
This is the second time we've faced this, so people probably learned some lessons from the first time on every side, right?
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, I better not fall on the ground and scream because I'll be turned into a meme if I do that.
Yeah. Although there are some of those, there's some of those, but it'll be forgotten about. Don't worry if you were one of those people.
I assume, I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard you say that you were impressed with how the
left.
You're a political delegate. You know more about politics than me, but let's just say left and right. You were saying how you were sort of impressed with the left. I saw people saying that they were kind of like, oh, now that it's over, everybody's backpedaling and you're not instead of appreciating like a loser that's like, you know what, you won. They're like, I want to put it in your face more. And I've even had people be like, make America great. Like send me a message like that. Yeah. And my response is like, well, what do I hope it isn't great? I hope that whoever's in power makes things good. Like yes. I don't care who's in power as long as they're doing a good job. Yeah. So that's my thing. And then what was the other thing you said that some of the people were weirded out that the left were like, well, we need a way to identify each other. So maybe wear bracelets or something. And in some sense, that's a little scary. Like people divide and conquer, like dividing people that way where you have to identify your public thing so people know who the snakes are not. But at the same time, you can kind of understand that. Sometimes it is hard to tell what type of person is. I appreciate when people identify themselves. Yeah. Like I would appreciate it if my enemy was like, hey, I'm your enemy. Yeah. Of course. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I understand why people wouldn't like that too.
One of the things that I really have liked coming out of the results of this is the other party coming back with kind of like a reflection mentality. Like, what went wrong here? And that is what, like, I think a lot of people have been, like, longing for. Like, can't you see why everything is like... Why is it that there's so many people willing to put their morals and their values and certain things aside to vote for a political party that may be in conflict with some of that? Like, what are the roots? Like, what is priority number one and what is built upon that? And there's this one TikToker that I was watching who was talking about coalescence, the idea of like, finding some middle ground. Like, what can you compromise on so that you can bring some unity and peace to others? And then she also brought up the idea of like something like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When it comes to like the social side of politics, whether it's like certain human rights and what's going to be taught in school and certain groups, I think Maslow's hierarchy of needs is good because it focuses on kind of like our base needs first. And a lot of people, I think, in this last American election weren't feeling like their base needs were being met. Like, if you want progressive policies to pass, you need to provide an environment of safety, like where people feel like, okay, like maybe I can try some new things because I feel secure, my job's secure, or like, I feel comfortable that I can pay my bills, I can do what I need to do, I can put food on the table. Then higher order things come after that.
Yeah, well, you gotta acknowledge hierarchies and order to begin with. I think there is, in spiritual stuff, this is a spiritual channel, I think that there's kind of you could argue that there's a place where you transcend the idea of hierarchy, but until you've gotten so high on the hierarchy that you can transcend hierarchy plays a role, right? And so on that hierarchy, I believe one of the things are a value hierarchy.
Yeah.
Some things are valued higher than others, and you start at the bottom. You go like, most of us value breathing. Most of us need to eat to live. And then you reverse engineer it. Like when things get too confusing, start from the most basic things that we can all agree on, and then you work upwards.
Yeah.
And there you will find that a hierarchy emerges of values, right?
Yeah.
And what you're essentially saying is that a lot of people voted for Trump because you take for granted how desolate and disparaged a lot of Americans are. They're like, look, man, I'm not into the Hollywood crowd that's like interested in all these things. I don't have enough to eat. I'm struggling here. I think that that's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Is that some people, I don't actually know for a fact. And the bottom line also is that since we've established that hierarchy is a real thing, going off of that, there are things within my life that I will never achieve that people are further ahead of me. They've got better processing power. They've evolved to be more intelligent. But before even being born, I won't reach their heights. But there's also people that won't get to my height. And it's not my job to be all petty and judgmental about that. What is the job of the person that's ahead of everyone? What does a good master do? A really good master is okay with his student transcending him. Becoming better than him. That's a sign of high intelligence, not pettiness and holding down. That's like caveman type stuff. Like, well, if I don't hold people down, they'll be better than me. And I understand that if your needs aren't met, you're more likely to be petty. Yeah. So you're going to see shit politicians. Like, and I'm not calling Trump a shit politician. Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. I am wearing purple because I've blended red and blue together. I made a little animation on my other channel about it too. Yeah. I'm interested in the idea of, well, let's have some more options here. Other than, I don't like the only two options are these things. Yeah. Everyone's so frustrated and divided, and there's this probably divide and conquer type thing going on here. Yeah. What if we were just a little bit better than all that? So I implore people to think higher than these things, not engage. Don't take the bait when you see somebody that's trying to make you be a fool by getting you frustrated, dragging you into it. Weren't you the one talking bad about it? Where's all that now? You don't have to engage. You can raise higher, educate yourself. It's the age of the internet. Everybody's got an opportunity to learn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This opens a whole door now for us to like evolve into our, the best versions of ourselves that I think we can be. I think both sides can learn something. I hope that the Republican side, learns from the Democrats on how to properly take a loss. And I hope that the Democrats, see that they weren't necessarily, speaking to the majority of people, and people don't like being gaslit, feel like, like you're a bad person, you're a fascist if you don't, if you're not on our side. That doesn't necessarily work. I think I would rather. I'm not talking to people that are struggling to eat. A little bit I am. I'm saying like, even from the depths of hell, you can have a little bit of a compass to be like, okay, when I get out of this, what am I going to regret? Yeah. But I would say that you don't want to learn the hard lessons in life, like the same thing happening to you, you being screwed over by an apex predator, to go, oh, I see. So I'm saying, if you are in the position where you care about these loftier things, these social progressive things, maybe first you want to raise everybody up to your level rather than lording it over them, because you're really engaging in like a lower minded thing. Yes. If you raise everybody up to your level and you're like, well, I'm not special anymore. But you're also not going to get robbed the way you have, just taken for granted. That's like the ultimate, like, how to it's like showering your enemy in riches or whatever. Like if you're so worried about the other side, taking over or whatever, make sure that they're doing all right. Like if you're, that's where I feel sometimes these parties fail. The other side is that they let them fall into despair and let them wither away. I'm like, no, raise them up. It doesn't matter who's in charge. If you're Republican in your charge right now, lift the Democrats up. Help them. Love them. And same verse, when Democrats, because they will be in power again one day from now, lift the Republicans and say, well, it's okay. We're here. We're all on the same team, essentially, right? It's very complicated. It's and I don't
claim to know everything. I don't think either of us do. You know, sometimes I wonder when people that, you know, I look up to seem, you know, when they make decisions that I don't understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but the truth is easier said than done. You know, like if somebody could come to you or I and be like, well, what are you doing to raise up the people that you judge? Yeah. It's like, good question. You know, you learn over time these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you track more bees with honey. You know, so maybe that's an aspect.
There you go. Well,
you don't want to be, you know, do you really want to learn why you shouldn't be so vengeful? Like, no, if my enemy wrongs me, I got to get them back. Do you really want to be gotten back so hard that you're like, well, I'm worth it?
Yeah.
To learn that lesson? Or do you want to be like, okay, how do we make this whole thing just feasible for as many people as possible? And watch closely, you know, before you sit there and just fixate on defeating someone, be like, what's going on there? Like, wouldn't even a good strategist do that? Like, what is my enemy up to? How would I best defeat my enemy? By just simply trying to dominate them? Like, am I taking for granted how cunning they really are? Maybe if I understand them better, things would be different. In the process of doing that, you might learn something.
Yeah. Well,
you know? But it's, you know, I implore everybody to do this. You know, the idea is sometimes people think you're talking about only their side. I'm talking about all sides.
Yep. No, I hear you. I think you made some strong points. Hopefully, you guys got something from this. We would like to hear in the comments why you think Trump won the election. Leave us something in the comments there. If you liked our little talk here, please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone till next time.
Stay spiritual.